How much of a benefit is it as a coach to have a team that embraces playing a physical brand of basketball, a defensive-oriented brand of basketball?
I think it's great. I think it fits. It's been who we have been, since we got here. These guys embrace the challenge, the defensive focus, the defensive mindset, hanging our hat there.
Jamahl, obviously AB's not his first time in the playoffs, but first time in a role kind of like this. How did you think he handled game one, and what do you want to see from him tonight?
I think he settled in as the game went on. I think that's very important for him. Again, not getting a lot of time last year, but being able to walk in these moments and having, the last month being big games each time. I think he's settling in, and I think you can see the confidence on his face as we've gone through these last couple practices.
Jamahl, how did the past month or so help Caleb, and what do you want to see from him tonight?
Like I said, for all these guys that haven't had that experience, the last month of us saying, it's one game at a time, that we've had to do certain things to get to the position we are now. These guys understand the level of focus they had to have, the attention to detail, following the game plan. And for guys like Caleb who step into the moment, it just builds confidence in what he's capable of doing because he's done it. He's done this before.
Having been through the playoffs last year, how is a game two different from a game one? You're just kind of getting that feel for the series, but now you've seen each other once, and you're in the series now.
Well, the whole series is like a game of chess, and I really think that you get to settle down a little bit. Being on the road, understanding the crowd, understanding what they're doing, in different situations and scenarios. You get to watch the film back, so being able to settle in a little bit and find the flow within the game.
Coach, what is your biggest challenge when you face a team as balanced as the Celtics?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think they're multiple scorers, ball handlers, playmakers. Obviously the shooting is a big key, but then defensively, their ability to switch 1 through 5, and so you've got to make quick decisions. You've got to make sure that you're understanding personnel, who's where on the floor, just being smart about all your coverages and following the game plan.
What I talked from you guys over the last couple of days about playing faster, picking up the pace. Is that something specific you see of this series that you guys have to do, and is that something you wanted to do throughout the year? Because you guys have been one of the lower paced teams, throughout the season.
I think we had a stretch where we did push it, and that we were getting a lot more fast break points, and I think we just being able to convert our defense to offense. It's not playing frantic pace, but ability to convert from our defense, who gets the stops, gets the rebounds, to get out and run, and playing before the defense is set is a big priority.
Now that you've looked at the film, what do you think was the best defensive coverage after the game? Because you tried different things through the games, so what did you think works best?
I really think a high level of communication is the biggest key for our defense. I think the physicality was there, the closing and shrinking the paint was there at times, but our ability to communicate at a higher level is going to be very important tonight because of the different combinations of pick and rolls and movements and cutting and the way in which they move the basketball. I think us being able to communicate at any given time is going to be very important throughout this whole series.
Jamahl, the first round offers a unique situation where you're playing the same team, but you get a couple days in between to see what worked. What was the conversation like off the court with the guys, and how they're prepping for another chance with the Celtics after a little bit of a break?
Well, the conversation was, going down and breaking down the film, understanding where we let go of it a little bit in the circumstances that caused it. And so the conversations were great. The guys understood exactly what they needed to do. And, to Philip's point, is just game one to game two, you can actually feel the flow of the game. And then going back and watching the film, you can really hone in on what you need to do to improve it. So the conversations have been great with these guys. The confidence level is high, understanding exactly what we need to do in this situation.
Jamahl, you guys saw Boston twice without Tatum this year, whether he plays tonight or not. Just what's different about them with Tatum versus without?
He's in such an unbelievable scoring threat. Obviously, and other guys pick up the slack there. Usually in those games, it's Al Horford who gets the nod. And so then there's size, there's rebounding, there's switchability that Tatum still possesses. But just his veteran presence on the court changes the game for them as well. So, we've seen that before, but the ability is that the other guys pick up the slack even more so in that case. Thank you.